Hoyo finally dropped the Itto and Chiori banners, and the 4 stars are gonna be Yunjin, Goro, and Dori. Dori is a weird character in the meta, very often overshadowed by Kuki, and for good reason. Both are 4-star electro healers, except Kuki just needs her E for her healing, while Dori needs her burst, so the ER requirement is quite high if you do want to use her as a substitute for Kuki in the team she plays, which means less EM and more stats dedicated to energy recharge. You can also run her as an aggravate carry on field with C6, which one of my viewers showed me, and it's honestly pretty fun. Dori's also an insane healer, like her healing is really good. If you want to use her in Farina team, she's gonna max out the fanfare pretty quickly. Yunjin is a normal attack buffer, so she wants to be used on teams where your on-fielder is normal attacking, like Yoimiya, Ayato, and other characters like that. She kinda wants to be used on teams where she's the only Geo character, or with someone like Zhongli as a duo to maximize her A4 passive. This isn't that big of a difference if you do use her in like a mono Geo, but preferably you do just want to use her as like a single or duo Geo with someone else like Zhongli or Albedo, or maybe Chiori in the future. Goro is the Geo buffer. He's the Bennett of Geo teams, except you could use Bennett with Goro, but he is the only character in the game that provides a defense buff along with his Geo buffs. He's pretty much essential in mono Geo teams that use Itto, Noel, and maybe soon Chiori as their main on-fielders. Outside of mono Geo though, he isn't that useful unless you're running Machine Gun Goro, which you can play if you want to. Moving on to the 5 stars, Chiori is an interesting character. Her skill gives you a Geo infusion, similar to how Alhaitam and Kuching work. It also summons a doll that does damage periodically that scales off of her attack and defense. Her burst is the classic noob that also scales both off of her attack and defense. She looks fun, but I can't really say how she's gonna perform meta-wise. I myself will be skipping because I gotta wait because they might show us some Arlecchino drip, so yeah, I'm sorry Chiori people. On the rerun maybe. Itto is a Geo hyper carry. If you don't already know by now, his burst basically makes him like Super Oni. Super Oni gets increased attack speed, he gets a Geo infusion on basically everything, and increases his attack based off his defense. His skill summons Ushi, which is just a huge Geo nuke. Itto's fun, and if you're summoning for him, I hope you get Goro constellations because he's pretty big as I've mentioned before when it comes to Geo teams. Meta-wise, he basically can be used to brute force with proper investment unless the enemies are just immune to Geo. For the weapon banner, Uraku Misugiri and Redhorn Stone Thresher are the signature weapons of both characters. Huge crit damage stat stick for both of these weapons, and if you're a Geo lover, it's a pretty good weapon banner for you. Redhorn is also generally a good claymore for most characters, even if they can take advantage of the defense, simply because there aren't that many great claymores. Serpent Spine and Bacon would be the next best universal limited claymores, and we haven't had a Bacon rerun until like the Chronicled Wish. For Chiori's weapon, it isn't as universal. I can see it maybe as an Albedo 5-star, so he finally has a good 5-star option that's not that cool, but mostly a Chiori weapon. The 4 stars on the banner aren't the worst. Ali Flash, generally decent if you care about the EM, and a good base attack stat stick for Bennett. Ali Hunter is a pretty good option for off-field or sub-DPS characters. Someone like Fischl can use this really well, or even someone like Sarah. Dragon's Bane is a good free-to-play polearm for characters that want the EM, like Hu Tao, Xiangling if you're using the catch on someone else, Rosaria, and Raiden or Toma for Hyper Bloom inversion respectively. My only problem with this weapon is that it keeps coming back to the weapon banners. Can we please get a new polearm so they can stop putting this on every other banner? Favoni's Codex is good, it's a fav weapon, and energy for your entire team is pretty good, but this weapon also keeps coming back, so you might already have it. And lastly, the bell is good for leveling up other weapons. If you are F2P or just don't want to pull on the weapon banner, White Blind is craftable and it's great for Itto and Noel, and Chiori can use something like the Harbinger of Dawn or the Cinnabar Spindle if you're old. The Chronicled Wish is also making its debut but will only last for the first half of the patch. I kinda got high hopes for this banner and like immediately Hoyoverse just crushed it after tweeting it out. I also heard that they'll be including characters like Kaya, Lisa, and Amber on these, but there isn't a guarantee, so your chances are just as good as the standard banner. I would personally just wait for better weapons and characters before even thinking about this banner. Those are all my thoughts for these banners. Again, I'll be saving, but good luck to everyone who'll be pulling. And for Arlecchino savers out there, stay strong.